listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. We hear so much about bucket lists today. We see lots of videos where the creators are fulfilling their bucket list and filming them for everyone to see. Many people set goals and search for fulfillment through the frame of a bucket list. What's wrong with a bucket list? And having goals that are aspirational. Are they appropriate ways to seek fulfillment? That's a big question. We have a unique perspective. Oh, what a surprise, everyone. Stay tuned. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach. This is a groundbreaking way to see yourself in this age of Aquarius. We help you unleash healing and potential that is unknown today and is totally unique to you personally. This is not your typical type of energy work. We help you with life-changing internal discovery that is powerful, rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, what is the perspective that most people need if they have a bucket list?
Well, it's understanding human priorities. When you have a bucket list, whether it's primary or just a wish list, it can affect your priorities, even your values. But I just want to go back to one thing. We just recently changed this, saying we had 25 years experience, and you just said 20. So I don't want people in the audience to be confused.
The truth I'm learning how to count, everyone, and read.
It's not actually 20 or 25. It's actually, we started in the year 2000, and this is 2024.
That's correct.
So
it's almost 25 years.
We're rounding up.
Yes, we are.
And because we were rounding down for years, saying 20 years experience when it was way over. So for the last 4 years, we've been saying 20 years.
Okay.
So I know people were holding their breath because they wanted to know this, but
I see.
But just so you know, it is 25. We're rounding it up to 25. So but I think it's an important point.
And wait a minute, why is that an important point?
Well,
experience.
It's experience is not the same as in the general world. But what we've been doing is refining our intuition for 25 years.
That's true.
And that makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does.
And it's not, we don't want you to tune in every week to listen to our perspective. We want to help you develop your own. We say this all the time. We don't want to be the guru. We want you guys to be gurus for yourself.
Correct.
But sometimes we point things out, and so people could say, "Oh, yeah, that's interesting." And hopefully, when we do that, it'll do a sort of a cha-chink with your own intuition. And that's what we're going to talk about today with the bucket list. It's easy to get carried away with a list because it focuses you on accomplishment, and that becomes an ego process.
Oh, there's your key right there.
It is. So we've been watching a lot of travel videos. That's Mom likes them. We take care of my mom, who's she's going to be
94 on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, that's really amazing.
Yes,
and she has dementia. She's hard of hearing.
She's actually deaf, but
she is deaf. And she has a cochlear implant, so she can have basic communication. But she loves to watch travel videos on YouTube.
I know, it's like,
well, actually we loved it, and then she started watching, and then she can't turn away. We turn on the captioning and it works really well. But so many of those travel videos are there was one recently, they walked the John Muir Trail.
Correct.
And that's close to us. So that was
kind of interesting. By the way, the John Muir Trail is over 200 miles long.
Is that how long it is?
Yeah, it's over. I'm talking well over. And it actually runs down not quite the backside of California, but it's definitely there. There is no quote coastline to be seen whatsoever.
Yes.
So, and by the way, I've done a little bit myself, and this isn't a brag by any means at all, but I did 100 miles on the John Muir Trail years ago. And I got to tell you, it was not easy, but in a way, I did it to say that I did do it.
Exactly. And that's our point today. Okay.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You know, we're going to talk about some stories for me and that sort of thing. But when it comes from ego or accomplishment,
yes,
there's bragging rights attached.
Yes.
So the John Muir Trail is really pretty impressive. And when we watched this one it was someone that we were following anyways, that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's called Bound for Nowhere. It's very well done.
Yes.
But then in my feed came up, you know, I didn't make it through the John Muir Trail and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And it's all about whether you did it or not. And I have to wonder, and we live just outside of Yosemite, in a more rural area.
Definitely.
And thank God for the internet, because that's why we can bring this to you today.
Correct.
But that this idea of, you know, we love the natural world.
Well, and I just want to put one more thing in there. John Muir was considered the original ecologist.
Yes.
He was the one who basically said, you cannot destroy this land and take out these trees to run a highway over the top of this mountain. And, you know, thank you very much, John Muir, because some of the beauty is amazing, but also the environment in which this area has in it. I'm talking about what it does for the ecology of all of us, or for all of us.
My point, however, is that when you start that trail, how far was it?
Over 200 miles.
Okay, so and I know this because I did a lot of it wasn't recreational backpacking. This was in the Army.
Right.
It was not fun. But you only have so much. You're carrying all your food,
right?
And you're carrying all your gear with you. You only have so much time by virtue of the fact that you'll run out of food, and it's not like you could stop in the middle of the John Muir Trail and go to a 7-Eleven. Yeah. So
true.
So at some point, the focus becomes not enjoying nature, but it becomes
a form of survival.
Yes.
And you don't even realize
accomplishment. No, you're focused on the accomplishment.
That's right. But you don't even realize that when you start out. You just go, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this. In other words, I'm going to reach this goal.
Yes.
But a lot of it is not thought through.
And when you get up in the morning, at some point, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm focused on completing this.
Yes.
As opposed to enjoying it.
Yes.
And so that's the point. Okay.
Yes.
And let's get to the point, because the whole idea of the bucket list came from this movie with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
And it caught fire. But even in the movie, the moral of the movie was not to have a bucket list. It was to do what's important in your life.
Yes, for you.
But ever since that movie, I've noticed that people are talking about the bucket list. You should have this on your bucket list. You should have this on your bucket list. Yes. They completely lost the moral of that movie anyways.
I agree.
And that's what we're trying to say today.
Yes.
Your ego versus your essence, what some people call soul. Ego is always easier. Ego is compelling.
Yeah.
Ego yells at you. It's not subtle. It says, oh my gosh.
Right.
And then ego always carries bragging rights, and deep satisfaction from your essence or your soul is always invisible.
That is correct.
Your soul whispers to you. It doesn't yell at you.
Wait a minute. That is correct.
Yes.
Yes. And the part that is really, really, really important here is that the ecosystem approach is what we do. It helps you remove negative energy to see the difference between your ego and your true authentic essence.
Yes.
And that's huge.
And when you're doing things that are connected that come from your essence,
Correct.
that are part of your purpose from your essence, it's, you know, to coin a phrase, it's soul satisfying.
It really is.
But your bucket list can never be soul satisfying, especially when it comes from ego, which is very likely that it does.
Correct.
Here's what we said in the beginning, that it affects your priorities.
Yes.
There's a term in business called opportunity cost. So when you allocate time and attention and energy, physical energy, emotional energy, intellectual energy toward completing, for example, the John Muir Trail.
Correct.
You're not working on uncovering your essence and knowing what your life purpose is.
It's true.
And so if there's a downside, that's it. Now, there's nothing wrong with indulging your ego from time to time, and we all do it. It's sometimes we can't help ourselves, but we all do it.
And not to mention, we also see others all around us indulging their ego.
Yes.
And from my experience, even on the John Muir Trail, I got rid of the ego real quick because I thought, what did I get myself into? And it was interesting. So, and by the way, I want to talk just for 1 second, that opportunity cost, it's never put in black and white terms. I don't know how else to say it.
It's not quantifiable.
It is not. And people do not realize how expensive that your ego can be.
Well, and that's why you can spend years of your life with all these credentials, these accomplishments, this list, this huge resume, and not be satisfied, not be soul satisfied.
That is correct. Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
The Bucket List movie started this idea about lusting after activities before you die. But even in the movie, the moral was about doing things with deeper meaning. It's easy to lose the pursuit of deeper meaning in your life when you have a bucket list, and your ego loves to override your essence or your soul. Your ego needs and wants can easily become obsessions, and a person can lose track of what is really important. The ego always demands to be satisfied, where the essence is subtle and it whispers to you. It is never demanding or pushy.
In the next segment, we're going to talk about how to replace your bucket list. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how to replace your bucket list. Jason, how do you replace your bucket list?
It's not easy. And it always starts with self-knowledge. Now, we've, having done this for 25 years, roughly, we know that people have no idea who they really are.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
And so many people have come to us and they rely on our assessment, which is maybe a starter.
Okay.
If people need a starter, we can help them with that.
Absolutely.
But you need to know that for yourself. And so many people, so why is it so difficult to know yourself? Well, we start from in the age of kindergarten with programming.
I was going to say, or even before that.
Goal orientation, do this assignment, do this. No one says, oh, who are you authentically? How do you do that? And most people don't even know the process, let alone how to access it.
Well, I was going to say, who are you authentically and what is your purpose here?
Yes.
That would be the questions. If I could go back
and be a parent again.
Those would be the questions I would be asking.
It's and not only ask the question, but this is what we know. And this is part of the ecosystem approach. We've seen it happen over and over again, but it's an energy process.
Yes.
So when you start removing the negative energy, you have these insights that they're not cognitive. They're not like something that you figure out, this idea. And if I'm telling on anybody, but this idea, it used to be popular when I went to college that people would want to say, oh, I'm going to take a year off and find myself.
Oh, yeah.
Geography doesn't help you find yourself. Experiences don't help you find yourself. We see that in the travel videos.
Yes, we do.
We had this experience, so we learned about ourselves. Well, maybe a little bit, but not really.
Yeah.
We know at the level of where learning takes place, which is your essence,
Right.
um, um, that happens from an energy process more than it does an experience process.
And the other thing is learning about yourself. The process that we teach helps you go inward and helps
Yes.
you remove negative energy so you can actually have some clarity.
Some perspective.
There you go.
So you can really see
That
what
is correct.
So, we're born with the need to express our soul or our authentic self in the world.
Right.
The most satisfying you can do is be who you are and say, here I am, world.
Right.
This is me.
Correct.
And frankly, here we are.
A few years later.
I was going to say old farts, but okay. I don't know if you can say that on the radio, but I just did. So it just, but it wasn't until, when we met,
yeah,
we were late 40s, early 50s.
Late 40s. That's right.
That we, for both of us, we started to really understand who we were.
Well, Jason, you got a story about the Army. Let's talk about that for a minute.
So I got out of the Army. I was 6 years in, and I probably would have been there for life. But my wife died, and then I became a single parent. My daughter was 7, and it was really traumatic. Usually in the service, the man dies, not the woman. And True. there's not a lot of they have a really good support system, other families, and that sort of thing. But I knew that I was in a Cold War unit, and I get called out at 2 or 3 in the morning, and we didn't know if we were literally going to war or if it was just an exercise.
Correct.
So, if that happened, I would have to grab my daughter out of a perfectly good sleep, take her to someone's house.
And maybe someone she didn't really know.
Yes. And then, deal with that. So I couldn't do that. So I
By the way, that's called compassion, everyone.
Well, and so I got out, and I thought, well, okay, if I'm going to get out, I can make the best of this. And then I started to realize that, well, I didn't really like how I was controlled in the Army. I was told, every day was kind of mapped out for me.
Well, sure.
There was a process there. A lot of how I thought and whatnot was there was a frame around it.
Kiboshed.
There was a very strong culture in the military that can be emotionally and intellectually confining.
Correct.
So when I got out, I said, okay, here I am. I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
I can do anything I want. And then I got depressed because I didn't know. I was like, okay, here I am. Here I am, world. I have all these experiences that didn't really help me know what
know yourself.
That's the biggest illusion. You can have these experiences. I could give you stories. We talked about jumping out of an airplanes and things like that. Well, that was a rush. That was a lot of pretty intense, but it didn't tell me who I was. Yeah. So when I got out, I was like, duh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I got depressed, and I know some of that was my circumstances, but I could have chosen anything, and I didn't know what to do. Now, my ego had a lot of ideas, and I liked the Army because it satisfied my ego, but it wasn't authentic. Now, the one thing about the Army that I know now is authentic was, if you guys don't understand astrology, I have a Scorpio moon. So for me to find out the secrets is a big deal.
Yeah.
Understanding the secrets.
Truly.
But frankly, the military secrets is really not.
And by the way, that was do you say section that you were in?
Yeah, counterintelligence and interrogation. Go. So I had a lot of ego boost from that, but that's not the secrets I really want to find out. The secrets to life, like we're talking about right now in the bucket list show, is what I want to uncover.
And by the way, he does it really, really well with great understanding, because not only of his intuition, but he reads a situation, he reads a person, and then takes it from there. And it's really awesome.
Well, and that's, we can talk about our intuitive partnership, which is kind of amazing, but but not today. So, but I love the Army because it satisfied my ego, but it wasn't help me with my life meaning, because I lacked the self-knowledge.
Right.
So it didn't matter.
Right.
Humans have one or more purposes to fill in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen, which is most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
it leaves a regret or hopelessness about life. We
Mm-hmm.
see, again, because we're in our 70s, we see a lot of people around us, they're dying. They don't know that they're retired and they have no idea what they're here to do.
Correct.
So they, after a while, when their hobbies get old, the golf and the socializing
Or
and the
their physical
drinking,
body starts breaking down.
they don't have the get up and go to say, I want to do some more of this.
Correct.
Because it's not really their purpose, and they kind of
Correct.
lose
Correct.
their vision for who they are and where they're going.
Correct.
We have many people who spent years removing negative energy who is attached to themselves, and the negative program still keeps them from seeing life in a different way. The whole idea of what your purpose is, it's covered up with layers and layers and layers of negative energy.
And you can go on and on and on about that, but go ahead.
So it takes a while. That's the problem.
Yes.
Your bucket list is so easy. Just turn on the TV and you've got 10 different possibilities.
Exactly.
Go on social media, go on YouTube. You can find 10 different possibilities for doing things that sound good.
Yes.
But when it comes to really finding out who you are, what your purpose is, what you're here to do, that takes years of uncovering.
It does.
And if you've been highly programmed in childhood, which both of us have,
yes,
and most of the clients that we still have right now, that's what it is for them.
Correct.
It takes years of uncovering that stuff, and then it still can be problematic.
Yeah.
So self-knowledge using the ecosystem approach is an uncovering your authentic self and knowing of your purpose is what truly makes you happy.
Right.
But it takes time. I'm sorry to be the messenger. It's a slow and subtle process.
Correct.
But it's so satisfying. And that's how we feel right now.
Yes.
Again, after 25 years.
Yes. And I just want to put in there that and we're going to talk about something that would have been on my bucket list in the next segment. But the point that Jason is making is that when we're not doing our purposes, and by the way, we always have more than one. I don't know anyone, I've never met anyone that has just one purpose for their bucket list. The point that I'm getting at is that when you start uncovering layer after layer, you start to see the difference not only between ego and who you are authentically, but you also start to see, well, geez, maybe somebody suggested that I do that as part of my bucket list, but is it really for me?
Yeah.
Things like that. And that's a really, really, really big deal.
Well, this is about the next show that we're going to do. But I know that mine is uncovering the secrets.
Yes.
Is one of them. But another one is it's not about being a writer. People might superficially say it's about being a writer. It's not that I want to write.
By the way, he's an excellent writer.
I want to articulate the concepts
exactly
that we download from the non-physical dimension into the physical dimension.
Correct.
And talk about that. Next week, we're going to talk about how the soul works. And we're going to give you a metaphor. This will blow your mind. I think if you've been following us for a while, you have to listen to the show.
Yes. I couldn't agree. So, Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
In order to replace your bucket list, self-knowledge is essential. Often the reason people have a bucket list related to the absence of self-knowledge is so that ego takes over. Self-knowledge comes from removing the negative energy and programming that covers essence, which is the gateway to knowing who you are authentically. That process can be very time-consuming. It is easy for ego to jump in and take over. Knowing your purpose and how to pursue it comes from a quiet and subtle voice within your head. Ego can easily cover up your purpose or keep you distracted from your life purpose.
Correct. So in the next segment, we're going to talk about what can be way more satisfying than a bucket list. Most people won't be able to do it. Will you? This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about what can be way more satisfying than a bucket list. Most people won't be able to do it. Will you? Okay, Jason, what is, quote, way more satisfying than a bucket list?
Satisfying the needs of your essence or soul is always profoundly satisfying and has deep meaning for your life. Now, that's easy to say.
Yes, it is.
How do you get there? Because of the negative energy that's attached to our essence, which is what we see, that's part of the ecosystem approach.
Correct.
We see how much negative energy is attached to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we see, okay, you have to start removing that in order, if you want that real insight.
Yeah.
It's not about taking an interest test. It's not about going out and having experiences.
Right.
It's about removing the negative energy so the authentic part of you can come forward.
And there are times when you start removing that negative energy, these things that have been within, connected to your essence for so long, things start to explode in a very positive way. I'm not talking about a negative way, but it's a very positive way. And you go, oh, wow, is that, in fact, I have a story if you don't mind.
Yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. The first time, I believe, and of course you have to be my age to really understand this. Of course, every Sunday night, the Ed Sullivan Show would come on, and that was the first time I had ever seen. That
really dates you.
I know that. Yeah. I know, but okay. But it was the first time I had ever seen the Rockettes. And if anybody doesn't know who the Rockettes are, they are a dance team, not a group. They are a team that still dances in New York to this day on Broadway, and they are remarkable. And you have to have skills and a love of what you do in order to be able to even make the team, more or less be able to dance with the team. And so then I'm going to come forward just a little bit, but I was in awe. I wanted to see, and every time I heard anything about the Rockettes, boy, my ears just perked right up. So when I was 14, I actually started dancing when I was about 7 and taking lessons and so forth. And in this dance group that I was with, we would dance around the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, where I came from. And when I was 14, somebody saw the dance group that I was in and went to my dance teacher and said, that one right there. And they pointed at me and they said, I want her to come to Las Vegas because she has what it takes. She could be really, phenomenal. And so my dance teacher went to my mother, and my mother went, no, absolutely not. And so then my mother finally told me that I had been asked to go to Las Vegas. And I was just so upset because I had this opportunity to do what I loved. Yes, my ego was involved, but there was something about movement for me and the uniformity of like dancing with the Rockettes. It took skill and that sort of thing. So moving right along, I never got that opportunity.
So the point of all this,
after I met Jason,
okay,
I'm going to make a point right now. After I met Jason, I started removing negative energy and all of the things that were, blocking the essence of who I am. I had the opportunity, and it was just through circumstance, to actually teach water aerobics. And I could create my own program. I could do all these things that
you choreographed it yourself.
I choreographed it myself. And I used my dance experience and my exercise experience to actually do this. By the way, I'm also certified to teach land aerobics. And so I got to do this, and I did not realize how much negative energy was on top of me and my essence. And the satisfaction that I got, and I'm talking about not my ego, but the satisfaction I got from not only creating, but teaching others through movement to help themselves physically. it was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my life. And by the way, today, each and every day, I dance, whether it's in the kitchen or not. I dance, and something that makes my mother-in-law very happy is when I dance for her.
Well, and so let's break that down.
Okay.
The Rockettes was appealing because it appealed to your ego.
Oh, it did.
But your need for movement, and we're going to do this going forward.
Yes, we are.
We're going to be working with energy and moving at the same time.
Correct.
And Patricia's going to spearhead that, and it's going to be, that's really sort of a purpose of your essence. It
Totally.
really connects with that.
Because at where I'm at now, I could actually reach so many other people in such a way that I think it would just be awesome.
And sweetie, you've been talking about the Rockettes for a couple of days now. Maybe later you can show me some Rockette moves. Yeah. Anyways,
dream on, honey. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. What we did with that was there was part of that was ego, part of that was purpose, and that happens all the time.
Yeah.
There might be something that, if you want, for example, to walk the John Muir Trail, there might be some of that is really connected with your purpose. How do you figure that out? By removing the negative energy.
That is absolutely correct.
And if you want to know more about that, the best thing you can do is go right now to our website, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section.
Yeah.
It's called the newbie section, I think. And it's completely free. We just ask for your email address, nothing else. And we won't spam you any of that, but it's a way to stay connected. And we do these shows every week so we could talk about how energy works in relation to your essence and the world. And we never ask you to do anything weird. There's nothing about this that's
no
strange or any of that. But
actually, it's quite practical.
It's quite practical, and
yes.
and we say all the time that what we do is our intention is you can have a better life in a practical way.
Yes.
Not go to some sort of airy-fairy place where it's all philosophical, but it doesn't really affect this world.
That is correct. That is correct. And most people confuse their essence and even ego with their Enneagram type.
Yes.
Explain that just a little bit, Jason.
That is. So if you know anything about the Enneagram type, we use the Enneagram type as a personality typing system, but that's a way of seeing the negative energy that's attached to you.
Yeah.
And to see who you are authentically, you would go to your natal chart in astrology. And we've explained that before. We're not explaining it right here. But a lot of times people misunderstand their Enneagram type as their purpose. For example, if you're a 7, sevens always love to travel. Sevens always want to keep going
and keep moving all the time.
Keep moving, and you might think, well, you may be one of those people that loves to travel and see things and go to different places and explore. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. But if it's part of your Enneagram type, some of that you need to clear
so that
you can see it more clearly.
If you're a 7, so you can stop long enough to see not only what it is you want, but also see if what you're doing is part of your purpose.
Right.
Because we all come here to actually do our purposes. It never just one. For instance, Jason is not only a father, but he is an amazing intuitive, and he also has the ability to pull in information that not only he needs, but will help others with who they are. That's pretty awesome.
I see the big picture. She sees the detail.
Yes.
And we work really well together. And a lot of times we do work together intuitively, and it's really amazing.
Yes.
But so understand that in a perfect world, children would have their parents start removing negative energy with them
early on.
If they have if someone has a meltdown, okay, let's put all that anger over there into that processor, that sort of thing. And we've had people like that, and it's amazing. It helps your kids. We started when we were in our late 40s, it's way too late. I mean, it's never too late.
It's never too late. We've
but
done some
it's
amazing stuff with it.
if I had to do it all over again,
Oh,
if we could start when we were younger, oh my gosh, it would have been amazing.
Exactly. What
And
we would have known today.
so should we do the summary and then talk about how to?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
Finding your purpose using self-knowledge is truly satisfying.
Okay.
However, it's a time-consuming process, and my hope is that parents would start uncovering a child and their self-knowledge in early childhood.
Correct.
The truth is that most of us start to uncover who we are in adulthood. Uncovering who you are is the most amazing adventure and satisfying thing a person can do in life, but it takes patience. And usually people begin to realize how deep their programming goes and how it has affected everything in their life. It can be especially difficult when your life desires have an authentic component and an ego component.
Yeah.
And when they're mixed up like that, you just have to figure out which is which. Put aside any bucket list and pursue the authentic desires of your purpose and of your essence.
Okay, I love that. So, Jason, real quick, because we're running out of time, let's explain to everyone how to remove negative energy, or what we call clearing.
It's very simple. You use your imagination. You can sit, stand, lay down. You can be walking. You can be doing something else. You can be in the shower.
Yes.
And in your mind's eye, you say the words, and then when you get to the verb, which is to eliminate, whether it's veils and illusions, barriers, or specific emotions, take those veils and illusions, barriers, gather them up from the tips of your toes, and then take a gentle breath, blow it into the processor. Emily's putting a picture of the processor up now.
Exactly.
And it goes in the top, it gets processed, and it comes out neutral. It's that simple.
And then after that, we're going to activate life force energy. I'll explain that in the next segment. It's real simple. So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to help you start to remove the negative energy so you can get a hint about your purpose and focus on that for your future. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you start to remove the negative energy so you can get a hint about your purpose and focus on that for your future. And I'm going to say for today and your future, which I think is great. Jason, go ahead, get started.
Here we go. And if you want a picture of the processor, what we're saying today, it's all written out.
Yes.
Go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org, sign up for our free section, and you'll get it every week. It's all written out for you, and you can just use it and have it. And that's how you start to remove negative energy.
Yeah, I love it.
Just doing the clearing. So here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that bucket lists are about ego and accomplishment. They don't contribute to life meaning or satisfaction.
Nice and easy.
Gather up those veils and illusions.
And throw all of that veil and all those veils and illusions and any negative energy in the processor. By the way, I see that negative energy moves easier from right to left. Why? I'm not sure, but that's how I see it. But you can do whatever works for you. It's not a rule by any means at all. So I'm going to shorten this up just a little bit. And it goes, and to eliminate the stress, and the veil, and to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that life meaning comes from self-knowledge and expressing your essence in the world. By the way, that is really well said. Nice and easy. Take a breath. Veils and illusions, throw them away. That's keeping you from self-knowledge and expressing your essence in the world. Jason?
And to eliminate the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in my life that is connected to a lack of self-knowledge.
Take a breath. All that stress and anxiety, you don't need it. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that ego is very easy to satisfy. Essence, not so much, but it definitely can be done. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that social media, TV, advertisers, and just human competition are all organized to give me ideas about things to lust after to create a bucket list that is ego-driven.
Take a breath. So you can see the differences. That's what that's all about. So, and to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that many people are taking radical approaches to life, but the ecosystem approach is very effective, helping me create real change, authentic change, and personal evolution. Take a breath and blow out any negative energies.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that the ecosystem approach is designed to uncover my purpose that gives me life meaning.
Yes. And to eliminate the barriers so I can clear negative energy, remove negative energy attached to me, and hear the quiet voice of my essence. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the barriers to my patience so I can take the time that I need to uncover self-knowledge and my purpose to have true meaning in my life.
Nice. Take a breath. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see how to pursue deep meaning in my life using the ecosystem approach. Take a breath. Those veils and illusions, you don't need them, and throw them away. Jason, let's I'm going to activate life force.
Let's do that.
Follow along, everyone. This is how it goes. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy. It's the most powerful energy that any of us has access to, and it can help us with confusion and hopelessness and helplessness and all the things that block us from understanding not only how to use life force, but what life force energy is all about. Nice and easy. You're going to pull that in through the top of your head. You're going to let it go all the way to the tips of your toes. You're going to stop it right there. You're going to ask it to turn around, and you're going to ask that life force energy to come back up your body, collecting negative energy, and throw that negative energy away. You don't need it. Take a breath. Jason?
And to activate life force so I can have hope to know myself enough to focus on the things that have the most meaning for me.
Pull that life force energy in. It's pure, it's good, it's positive. And now blow out any negative energy that's keeping you from understanding the most meaning for you. Take a breath. And to activate life force so I can trust that the quiet voice of my essence can direct me to true meaning for my life right now. Pull it in and blow it out.
And to activate life force so I can decide that I will focus on uncovering myself and my purpose for as long as it takes.
Take a breath, pull it in, and blow it out. And to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy, have laughter and love and fun, creativity, objectivity, hope, and the knowing. And knowing, and the very least, connect with the knowing of who I am so I can see what's standing in my way, keeping me from not only healing myself, but healing life around me. Pull it in and blow it out. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
This is really exciting to me. We're going to talk about your soul or essence and how it works.
Okay.
Now, this has always been difficult for us because when you look in the non-physical dimension,
okay,
it's not like you're looking through a microscope or a telescope.
Right.
Not everybody sees the same thing.
That's
and in
correct.
fact, when you go into the non-physical dimension, you see it in terms of metaphor.
Okay.
So, for example, I get impressions from my crown chakra. I just know.
That's right.
Information. Patricia sees pictures. She can smell things. She hears things.
Yes.
It's different. So we've been trying to say, okay, how can we describe the soul and how it works?
Yes.
Well, we've come up with a metaphor. And this metaphor is really kind of exciting because it helps you describe and understand for us in the physical, people, human beings who have limitations on our capacity to understand
Correct.
what's in the non-physical dimension.
Yes.
It's a metaphor that should be easy for most people to understand and say, okay, now I kind of get it.
Yes.
I kind of get what this negative energy is. If you've been listening to our show for a while, we talk about negative energy all the time, but people don't really understand it. And we understand that people don't understand, and it doesn't translate easily. This is going to be kind of groundbreaking. We haven't illustrated it yet. We're gonna start doing that. We're going to illustrate the soul. We're going to illustrate the metaphor that represents the soul.
There you go.
And I think that'll be very, very interesting, and actually quite new, because one of the biggest things that people don't understand about your soul is that that your soul is your command center
There you
for
go.
everything in your life. People
Right.
talk about their DNA. Your DNA is not the command center. Your soul controls your DNA.
There you go.
You know, if you have those genes that you don't want, it's your soul that's to look for where that is. So
exactly. So Jason, talk to us about
well, if you got that feeling in the back of your neck that says, "Oh my gosh, I need to understand this. I want to know more about energy. I want to know more about my essence." Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org, sign up for our free section, listen to our show every week, and you'll just start to get it. That's why we have these shows every week.
Yes.
And if you want to go to our Facebook page, it's theecosystemapproach.org. If you're there, we have all of our videos there. You can like us. Please like us while you're there. We'd appreciate that. And I think just keep listening, guys.
Yes, you're going to learn something new each and every week. We'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.